Welcome to The Road Less Traveled with Tiffany Rosenbaum. This podcast is about sharing the success and failure of entrepreneurs. Join in and learn from others' mistakes so you don't have to go through the same hardships in business. Now let's welcome your host, business coach, real estate investor, and proud wife and mom, Tiffany Rosenbaum.
Today we're here with Ashlynne, and I am very excited to talk about your life and your journey and seeing what y'all have gone through. I would love for you to tell your story because it's a different point of view and everything you saw and how you are where you're at today. So go back, start with your journey, where it all began.
Well, it all began when I was young. I watched my mom and my dad go through a lot of trials. They had trial after trial after trial after trial. I was young, but I was old enough to know what was going on. And when I was 14, my little brother passed away. My dad made sacrifices, and that's what he had to do with two kids with special needs. My little brother who passed away had special needs, and my sister was in a wheelchair. And so they had two kids with a lot of medical bills. And
Are you older than your sister that was in the wheelchair?
I'm not, I'm younger.
Okay, so you're younger than her. Mm-hmm. And then walk us through the time when your brother passed away and when you were watching your mom, how she was handled, you were watching your dad, because you were 14.
I was.
I mean, that's a very pivotal point in someone's life to see either you're gonna become a victor or a victee. You know, you're gonna decide what kind of life you want. Like, how did you go through that when you found out? Were you there at the house when it found you, or were you at school? Where were you?
I was at school, and it's a day that is burned in my memory for forever. I was at school. I've been a dancer pretty much my whole life, and I was in dance class, and I got a little notice. They bring you a notice if you're leaving school. It said my aunt was picking me up, and I was really confused because my brother drove to school. My brother was my little Uber to school, and normally if we're leaving, we'll both leave, and he'll drive us home. But it said my aunt, and I was like, no, that's not right. My aunt lives in Dallas. I have no aunts that live here. So the school made a mistake. They weren't supposed to put my aunt. And as soon as I read my aunt was picking me up, I had this pit in my stomach, complete pit. I knew something was wrong. And at first I thought it was my grandpa, and it wasn't. But I was thinking, I was like, why would my aunt pick me up? That's a 4-hour drive. Like, that is a far drive. Something's not right. I called my mom, nobody answered. Called my dad, nobody answered. My brother, he finally was running down the stairs from the school, and we both had that same feeling in our gut. Something was wrong, we just did not know what it was. And it's a feeling I never want to have ever again in my life. And we both looked at each other, we're like, something's not right. And I remember we just darted, like we ran. And I'm not a girl who runs, I cannot run. We ran through the school, we ran to the parking lot. He was not supposed to drive home, but he had a car and he had the keys. And he drove us home. I remember my mom finally answering the phone after I called her 15 times, and she was crying. And I said, is everything okay? She goes, it will be. I said, Mom, what's going on? It'll be okay. Mom, is everything okay? Just get home. And I could hear it in her voice. So then my next thought was my sister. My sister at the time was in a wheelchair. And she wasn't doing good mentally, she wasn't doing good physically, and so that was my next thought. I had a million thoughts going through my head on this 25-minute drive home. And my mom doesn't cry very much, so that's how I knew it was something significant. It was definitely something significant. And I remember we were driving at the time. We had just moved in like a couple months before to a new house because my parents had lost their house before. And we were driving, and there's this big like stone sign. And my brother knew something was going on, and he was angry because nobody would tell him what was going on. And there was this car in front of him that was going really slow. It was like a lawn care. They had like different things on the back of their car. They were going very slow. So he swerved around them. We came within 2 inches of hitting that concrete sign because he wanted to swerve around them and get to the house. And I remember we turned left, and then we turned right, and then we both saw ambulances, fire trucks, and police cars. And right then and there, we knew something happened to one of our siblings. We knew my sister was home, we knew my little brother was home, and we knew my little sister was home, and my mom.
You had 3 siblings home.
Yes, 3 siblings home. My little sister at the time, I think she's probably 5 or 6. I can't remember her exact age. My older sister was graduated from high school, so she would have had to have been like 20, probably 20, because she's 27 now, so probably 20. And then my little brother, who was 3. And we pulled up to the house, and there were people I had never seen before, like never. We had just moved into this house, moved into a new church ward, and we pulled up and we both got out. And I remember the exact outfit I was wearing. That's how vivid this day is to me. And I still have that dress. I will never get rid of it. No, it does not fit me. It's like a t-shirt now. But I was wearing this dress, and I walked up and I didn't see my mom. And then my first thought was my sister. Well, slowly everyone kept coming out of the house. And I remember asking this random lady who handed me a Subway sandwich that I did not want. And I was like, okay, Kayla's here. Mom just came out of the house. Where's Callan? And she wouldn't answer me. And I was like, where is Callan? She wouldn't answer me. And this random lady sitting next to her, and I never knew them. And it was just a random person. It was a next door neighbor that had come over, and she said, honey, he's gone. I was like gone to the store? And she's like, no, honey, like he's not coming back. And I remember literally falling onto the concrete and slamming my body against the concrete 3 times because I didn't know what to do. I was 14. I had what I thought was I had a good life, and we had never had anyone close to us pass away. So this random lady tells me he's gone, and I crumbled to my knees, and then I threw my body against the concrete, and no emotion at all. And she said, you're never gonna see him again.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, okay. So it's baby Callan, not baby Callan. And then I just started bawling because baby Callan, I was kind of like a second mom to him, which I don't feel bad saying. When he came home from the NICU, because he had a couple things happen when he was born. When he came home from the NICU, I learned how to put his NG tube in. I learned his medication schedule. So I knew everything, and he was like a little buddy to us and to me. And that night, they wheeled him out, and they told us we could say goodbye. The cops came out, and they told us we could say goodbye. We weren't allowed to see him because of how young he was and the manner of when how he passed away. We weren't allowed to see him. Everybody was crying.
Explain that a little bit, because that's going to get maybe a little awkward for the viewers, but you weren't able to see him because how the manner he passed away.
Yeah.
Explain that a little bit.
So what they had said was, because he was so young, he passed away from a silent seizure in the middle of the night.
Okay.
But because he was 3 years old and passed away at home, they kept his body covered. They just would not let us see him. At the time, that's what my mom said. Whether or not my mom wanted to save us from having to see him, there's a high possibility of that. But they let us say a prayer, and I remember them coming up and them bringing him out, covered in a sheet, rolling him down the driveway, and putting him in the car. And we all just stood outside. Wow. And I didn't go inside for hours. I couldn't. I sat outside on the porch. My brother sat outside with me. And we didn't go inside. I think we finally went inside when it was like 9 o'clock at night. I didn't sleep in my room. We all slept on the couch together. But it was such a a sad feeling in the house, so we didn't want to be there. We still stayed there, and my dad was not there when my little brother passed away. He actually got home a couple hours later, like later that night. He wasn't there when they wheeled him out. He wasn't there for any of that. And that is just a day that it honestly changed my life. To say that I took it strong and I didn't do anything stupid is a lie. I was 14, and then when I had lost my brother, I was like, what's the point? Like, what's the point? And I fell into the wrong crowd. And it was one dream I had, and I'll never forget it. I was struggling, and I had a dream that he had already passed away. For whatever reason, our house was in the front of a funeral home, which is weird, but he had passed away, but he came to life for 2 hours. After he passed away, he came to life for 2 hours to say his final goodbyes. That's what he said. He was talking full sentences, and my biggest struggle was, where is he?
Yeah.
Well, what's going on? And he, at the very end of the dream, because all of us were fighting over seeing him.
Yeah.
At the very end of the dream, he said, I'm right here, I'm right with you. And from that day, not to say I was perfect, but I have done everything in my power to live my life in honor of him. Like, what would he want for me? Would he be happy looking down and seeing where I'm at in life? Would he be proud of me? Would he be disappointed in me? Because he was so pure. And that was and still is the hardest moment of my life. But it has made it to where I'm stronger. Like, if I don't know where I would be, it changed my parents' life. My parents both, it shocked them, it hurt them. I'd never seen my dad cry, and he did cry. But he did say one thing, and that was, this will either galvanize our family or tear us apart. And he was so strong. My parents were just so strong through it while all of us were crumbling. And I know that they needed to be strong for us, but we also needed to be strong for them. And my little sister, she was like, he's here with us. It's not like he's fine. And she was probably the strongest of us all. And from that day, my parents have also lived their life in honor of him, to the point that they named a company after him. And every day we get up, we strive to be the best version of ourselves for him. Not for ourselves, but for him. And also for ourselves a little bit. But that day changed my mom entirely. And she became this, she struggled for a couple months, and I've never
who wouldn't?
Right?
That's, yeah.
It was hard. We had no family there. It was just us. It was our little family, little, but my parents had 6 kids, so there's a lot of us. But we had no family there, and we just gathered together as a family. We were there for each other. Some of us turned to different things, and some of us turned to Jesus, and some of us just didn't care. And we all had to grieve in our own special way. Mm-hmm. And I remember his funeral, I remember his viewing, I remember everything about it. I remember them lowering his casket into the ground. I remember my parents not being able to afford his funeral. And I'm really good at listening to things.
Yeah.
So there's conversations I probably shouldn't have heard, but they could not afford his funeral.
Oh, wow.
And they went to go pay it, and it was paid. And someone, we don't know who, we never will know who, paid for his funeral. His casket was actually donated by the monks. It was hardwood. It was a beautiful casket, but they didn't have to pay a dime for it.
Wow.
It was, and that was hard for me to watch. I mean, I was 14, and that is kind of the age where you're kind of learning how to process things and be your own person. And I just watched. I watched everything, and I remember my mom and my dad having those conversations where they didn't think that we could hear, but it was a 2-story house, so it's not very very insulated. But I could hear, and they were struggling on how they were going to pay for the funeral. And I remember flowers getting dropped off. I remember food getting dropped off. And I was sick of the food, and I was sick of the flowers, just because they're random people I've never met before. And they made it through. And from there, they have grown so much. And like, at any given time in my life when things get hard, I just remember it could always be harder. It could always be harder. I could always have it worse. I have a beautiful baby boy. I have a wonderful husband. I have a wonderful family that I love and care about. That's all I need. And so I didn't plan on going in the career that I am in now. I wanted to be a nurse. Because from then on, I just wanted to help people.
Okay.
I just wanted to help people and advocate for people. And I actually wanted to be a special needs lawyer.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So when baby Callan had passed away, he was having a nurse come in and take care of him. And we had found out, and I knew a lot, actually, looking back at it for a 14-year-old girl, but that the state of Texas was trying to pass this law that if you had a certain amount of nursing hours, then you would go into like a special needs home. Take the kids out of the home, and they would go into kind of like an elder, like a nursing home, but for kids with special needs, which I was like, absolutely not. That is the worst thing you could do for a kid that needs their mom and their family. And so as a 14-year-old girl, I was like, what can I do? Like, how can I advocate? And so that was my reasoning to be a special needs lawyer.
Wow.
Because I wanted to fight for the kids who didn't have a voice. And the kids, because CPS came and asked us all these very personal questions, and I will always remember the questions when I'm sitting upstairs in this media room, and my parents were not home. And they said, we need to talk to you. And I was 14, I didn't know the difference. And they came up and they asked me all these questions, and I was like, these kids need someone to fight for them. So that drove me to finish high school. I hated school. Finish high school because I really wanted to be a special needs lawyer.
Okay.
And then I found out how much reading you had to do, and I don't like reading. But I was really good at taking care of my little brother. I would put his NG tubes in, his G buttons in, and I knew how to give IVs to my sister because she would get IVs. I knew how to take them out. I'm not sure a 14-year-old is supposed to be giving someone an IV, but I knew how to do all that stuff.
Well, you saw a lot as a 14-year-old.
I did. In fact, when my parents actually got evicted essentially from their house, it was sold out from underneath them before my little brother passed away, I was home when the cop knocked on the front door and handed us the eviction notice.
Oh, wow.
I was sick. I had a tummy ache, and I wanted to stay home from school. Really, it was just the Hallmark movies were on, and I wanted to watch Christmas movies. And the cop knocked on the front door and handed the notice. My parents were not home. And I read it because I was nosy.
Yeah.
And I went in my bedroom, and I was like, oh no, we're not gonna have a home. And I called my mom and I called my dad, and they're like, you weren't supposed to know that. You weren't supposed to see that. We've been trying to fix it. So I saw a lot growing up, but I saw how my parents handled it with grace. And I've also seen the other side of people who have gone through things and they just crumble. Mm-hmm. They lose their home, they crumble, and they give up on life.
They stop fighting.
And I never wanted that to be me. I never wanted to give up the fight. I always wanted to be strong like my parents. I wanted to fight through everything with anything I got. And I would go down trying. Like if I don't necessarily hit the goal that I want or need in life, I'm gonna go down trying. Like I'm gonna give it all I got, and that's all I can do. So when I turned 18, I want to say 18, I was actually up in Utah, and I ended up not going to school. I ended up not starting college. I ended up going into the financial services industry, and I've never looked back. It has changed my life. It's changed my family's life. We've had hard times since my husband and I got married. Like, there was a time, and I shouldn't have done this, but I was young and I was trying to make sure that I was taking care of everything, and all he needed to do was go to school and become an orthopedic surgeon. That's it. Go to school, become an orthopedic surgeon. Yeah. I'll handle the finances, I'll handle the bills. Well, I went from no bills to bills, and it was a lot of bills.
A lot of bills.
And he had no financial help with school. We had no financial help from his parents with really anything. And I mean, my parents helped pay for our wedding, but I'm high maintenance, and so I wanted certain things, and I was given a budget, and I'm like, I want this, so I'll pay it.
Yeah.
And I was making decent money, so I could. But I wasn't expecting how much bills we were gonna have. And we were paying tuition out of pocket. Now, he was going to A&M, so it's not a cheap school.
No, it's not.
Like, at all. The tuition on top of everything else is super expensive. And we had gotten to the point, and it was in February of we got married in 2020, so it's 2021. February 2021, we were at the point where we didn't have the money for everything. We just didn't, everything caught up to me. We were young and dumb and took off of work for 2 months. We went on this grand old honeymoon in Disney, which Disney's not a cheap honeymoon. You can go anywhere for the price that you pay at Disney. And we paid out of pocket for it. We had no financial help with that. And he didn't have really a job. My husband got kicked out before we even got engaged, so he was living on my parents' couch. So wow. We've honestly been kind of on our own. Like, my parents have always been there, but since before we got engaged, it's been him and I against the world. And it was like February 3rd. Tuition and rent were due on the same day. Tuition was just much quicker to come out than rent.
Yep.
So tuition came out. Okay, great. He can still go to school for another 30 days. And then rent bounced. And I was at the time, we were doing financial services, mortgage protection. I was going to people's homes. And I remember I was in Magnolia, which is where I was born, where I was raised, and I couldn't fill up my gas tank. My account was 100% negative. Like, it was negative. And I sat in my car, I called my dad, and he's like, well, where are you? And I was like, I'm in Magnolia. And he was 2 hours away. He's like, well, see what you can do, and then call me back. So I sat in my car and I said a little prayer. And by the grace of Heavenly Father himself, I checked my bank account 15 minutes later, and I had just enough to get gas. So I was able to make it home, because my home was College Station and I had no way to make it home. I made it home, and my husband had no idea any of this was going on, which is what I shouldn't have done. I kept it from him, because I'm one of those, I'll handle it on my own. I'll take the brunt for everybody else, where I don't have to worry. When they don't have to worry, I'll worry for you, is what I do. It's not healthy, and I've gotten a lot better at it. But he had no idea any of this was going on. He had no idea I was stuck in Magnolia. He had none of that knowledge. So I made it to College Station, and I knew the eviction notice was coming. I knew it was coming because I had no money to pay rent. There was just no way. So every time we get home, I'd actually run up the apartment stairs to make sure the eviction notice wasn't on the door. And I did every day, and finally that notice was there, and I hid it from him for 24 hours, and that next day, I was actually headed out of town. I was getting on a plane that I could not afford, paying for a hotel that I could not afford, because the company called me and they said, hey, we need you to do some marketing material. We want to use you. You're a great woman, whatever. And I was like, I'm not great. Like, I can barely afford my bills right now. I can't afford my bills. But they saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. So I got on the plane that I couldn't afford. I got in the hotel that the only reason I was able to afford that hotel is because I had gotten paid on something 24 hours before that hotel. And on the way to the airport, I told my husband, I was like, there's something I need to tell you. He's like, what is it? And that's when I broke the news to him, and I said, we have 3 days to pay rent before we have to move out. And he was mad. I would have been mad too. Yeah. He was mad. And we had the conversation you never want to have with your spouse. And he was like, okay, I'm in this with you together. We're in this together. We will do this together. So I went on that trip. I got home 2 days later. And typically, the success you're looking for is in the work you're not doing, you're avoiding. But also it takes a leap of faith, and it takes that leap to usually get you to the next step. So that leap for us was we have what's called leads, and that's who we call. I had $250 to our name. He had no money in his account, and we had $250 between the two of us. That's what we got. And that leap that we took was we bought those leads. Because we knew, and I mentally could not hit purchase like that, and that's just a hard thing for me.
Yeah.
I mentally could not hit purchase. My husband could. He's like, go for it. And I'm not like that.
Yeah.
And we hit purchase, and then him and I both, we worked on a Saturday, which normally we wouldn't. Most people don't want to work on a Saturday. We went in our little closets. We called them, it was a utility closet, really. We called and we set appointments, and we both went out and we both ran appointments on that Saturday. And we're very religious people, and we were like, if this is supposed to work, make it work, because we have no idea what we're gonna do. So we went and we turned that $250 something into $8,000. That's not typical, it's not normal. And that was our answer we needed. And then we had to have the conversation of, what are we doing in College Station? We have no family here. We have nothing going for us here. I need to be in Cyprus. I need to be where my office is. Because I was driving, like I was getting home from appointments at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, wow.
Like I was driving 4 hours to an appointment, because College Station is an hour and a half outside of anything. So I was driving far, and I was getting home late, and I was leaving early. And I'd usually leave the house around 5, and I wouldn't get home until 11, midnight, 1 o'clock. And we didn't want that for us anymore. So we had to take risks. And the risks we had to take were not risks we wanted to take. And we left our apartment in College Station. We had to. And we haven't looked back, not once. We moved to Cyprus, and that's when our income tripled. And we've had hard times since then, and we haven't looked back since then, but we had our son early. That was something that was really hard. He was born 8 weeks early, so he was a preemie. He tried to be born at 28 weeks, but we stopped that one, but we couldn't stop the 32 weeks. And he was in the NICU. And he was still in school, my husband was still in school, so I would have my dad or my husband, because I couldn't drive, I had him by emergency surgery, so couldn't drive. I relied on everybody else, which I don't like doing. And one of them would drop me off, and I would sit at the NICU from 8 a.m. to 9 or 10 p.m. because I wanted to be around my son. And I would work from the cafeteria in the hospital. And not very many people are willing or crazy enough to do that. I am. I'm pretty crazy. But I'm pretty strong-willed, and I'm pretty determined. And I was determined that I was gonna make it work. Callum was gonna finish his semester at school. I was gonna make it work. It was gonna happen. I had to. We had no other option. Our back was against the wall. We had no other option. And we had a little boy depending on us.
Yes.
Who was 5 pounds, 2 ounces at the time. And he had no way to fight for himself. We had to fight for him. And so we both made sacrifices, but we had to. You have to make sacrifices to get to where you want to be, because with no sacrifice there is no reward, and I believe that wholeheartedly. And to this day we make sacrifices. We make sacrifices all the time.
You have to, otherwise there's no gain.
Exactly.
You know, if you're not sacrificing something, then you're going the easy road. And if you go the easy road, then it's not the path that's going to get you to the next level.
Exactly. Nothing worth having is easy. It really isn't.
It's like a muscle. You go into the gym, if you don't use the weights, you're not going to gain muscle. You're not going to break them down and make them stronger. I look at that a lot. Like if you want to run a 26-mile run, you're not going to go out and run 26 miles. You got to go and struggle through it to get there. So yes, I totally agree. You have to take the unbeaten path. You have to struggle through it to get to where you want.
Yes, and you have naysayers. I call them naysayers. And we had a lot of those. We've had our own family members, not my parents, but we've had our own family members tell us, "What are you doing? Why are you doing this? There's no way you're successful. There's no way. This, that, and the other. Callan, you must finish school. It'll be a huge disappointment if you don't." And that was hard for my husband. So he actually, once my son was born, once our son was born, he decided that he was going to take a semester off from school and focus on family, which is a very hard decision to make. But we had that talk, and I was like, I can't do this alone. I can't do this on my own. I got a little boy, we got a business I'm trying to run. Like, I need you, I need your help. And if you want to finish school, I will support you 100%. I will back you 100%. But if you're not 100% in on school, then tell me, because we're paying for it out of pocket and it's not cheap. And we would have to make huge sacrifices to get to finish school. Well, he ended up deciding to take a step back from school, which he had phone calls from his grandma telling him that it was a disappointment. He had a whole bunch of people telling him, "What the heck are you doing?" And I had people who I didn't really know very well, but he did. He grew up with him, coming up to me saying, "This is your turn to make a sacrifice. He needs to finish school and you need to be a good wife and support him. You need to be a stay-at-home mom. Women don't work." And I was like, actually, this woman does. I work and I can have both if I want it. If I'm willing to make the sacrifices, I can have both. I can be home with my son and I can run a successful business. And given all the doubt, given all the people telling us, and I mean, we're young. I just turned 23. My husband is 25. He just turned 25 in December. So we're young and we still look to like old adults, like my parents, and for advice. But that was one of them that we both looked at each other. We're like, we're gonna have to do this on our own. Like, forget what other people are telling us. What do we want for our family? And we did. And that was a huge sacrifice for him because he likes to please people. He's a people pleaser. I am too, in a way, but I'm pretty headstrong. And to this day, we still have comments like, "How's your little business going? Is it even successful?" I'm like, actually, it is. It is. We just had to take sacrifices, and we still do have to make those sacrifices, but we're not sacrificing family. We sacrifice, like, I'll sacrifice time. Like, I'm not gonna take time to go get my hair done all the time anymore. I sacrifice things like that, but I have the ability, because of the sacrifices we've made and the choices we've made, I work 3 days a week. And then I'm a straight stay-at-home mom the other 3 days a week, or 4 days. And I'm home with my son and we get to go do things, and I wouldn't change that for the world, because I can run my tail off and work super hard the first half of the week, and then that next half I get to be home and we can watch Spider-Man and we can do all these things, and he gets to know his mom. That was my biggest fear. I wanted, even though it takes sacrifice, I wanted him to know that I'm present. He's still so young that he probably doesn't even know the difference. But mom guilt is real. I always heard that. I've always been told it's mom guilt. I was like, mom guilt, like, it's guilt, just brush it aside. It's real. When you become a mom, mom guilt is a thing. It's stupid. It is so stupid, because at the end of the day, the sacrifice you're making anyway is to provide for your family, is to give your kids a better life. And that's what I'm like, that's the sacrifice, and that's the reason, that's my why. That's what gets me up every single morning when I don't want to get up out of bed, is my son, my husband. we're building a legacy for our family. It's not just for fun and giggles. We are building a legacy. We're building something for our kids where they don't have to worry about whether or not they're going to get food that night. They don't have to worry about the lights getting turned off. They don't have to worry about getting evicted. We made all those mistakes before we had kids. But I had that a couple years when I was growing up, when I was young. We'd come home and the lights would be off, or I'd have to get ready with a flashlight because the light bill wasn't able to get paid. But all of those struggles that we've been through, and even that my parents have been through, have molded both of us and molded me into the woman I am today. I have no doubt in my mind that all that happened for a reason. All those trials, everything happens for a reason. And trials at the time when you're in them, they're terrible, they suck. And you're like, why am I going through this? Why would the Lord put me through this? Why is this happening to me? Why? And when my little brother passed away, that's exactly what my mind said. Why? And when certain things happen, my first thing is why? Why this? Why is my son born early? Why am I not able to do this? And I've just had to learn how to switch my mindset to, what am I gonna get from this? What is this gonna do for me? What am I gonna learn from this?
If you take trials and learn from them, you can gain so much more.
Exactly.
When you shut down, you lose so much. It's just like, literally, I always go back to the gym. It's like going to the gym and not using weights.
Exactly.
It's that trial that you can use and go, okay, this is gonna get me bigger and better and make me learn, or it's, oh, I don't want to touch this, I just want to curl up. And then you actually atrophy your muscles if you don't use them. But if you use the struggle and you use them every day, that last rep gets you stronger, bigger, better, and where you actually want to go.
Yes, exactly. And I've learned, I've gotten really good at it, probably too good at shutting off all that stuff and just being in the moment of what I'm doing. Like we have stuff going on in our life all the time, but I have learned how to shut it all off. And I'm not perfect.
No one is.
No one is, right? I'm not perfect, but I've learned to be able to shut the noise off and just be there. Focus on the people I'm taking care of, focus on my family. I got to the point where I was like, I don't care what your opinion is, I'm gonna do me.
And that's important because you have to have standards, and usually the people are only upset or something because they can't manipulate you.
Exactly.
Or they can't change you. And then when you can stand on your own 2 feet and say, this is what I want and this is what's good for me, then it's so empowering.
Yes.
So empowering.
Exactly. And that's where I've gotten to that point is I have to shut the noise off. I have to ignore what other people are saying. I have to ignore my family's opinions. I have to just, what is it that I want for my family and me? And what sacrifices am I willing to take? And we have that conversation, my husband and I, probably once a week, maybe 3 times a week. But we have it all the time. Like, what sacrifices are we willing to make to get where we want to be? And I have siblings that are like, Ashlynne, you don't get home till 10 p.m. How do you even spend time with your husband? Ashlynne, is this even worth it? And they've even come to my husband and they're like, how do you even like, she doesn't have dinner for you when you get home? Call me a bad wife, but no, Kane's is dinner. Like, it's fine. He's fed his best, even when you're little and when you're a grown adult. But we've had like so many people tell us stuff like that. And my own siblings, they're like, I just wouldn't want that life. That's okay.
But that's not their life.
That's not your life.
And you get to decide, and each person gets to decide what their life looks like and the ultimate life they want to get. Ashlynne, what is the best advice you've ever received?
Oh, that's a really good question. I've received a lot of advice. One of the quotes I really like, and it's the most basic quote it ever is, but it is kind of advice to me. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. You really do. And if I wouldn't have taken that shot when I was 18, or if I wouldn't have taken that shot when I was 19, and gave up a lot of stuff to get where we are, then I don't know where I would be today. And I'm not willing to miss the shot. I'll take the shot. I'll take the shot if it's not fine. But 9 times I've never had something happen where I've taken a risk and it not work out in my favor. And the risk is worth taking. It really is. But you have to take that risk to get where you want to be. With no risk, there is no reward, which I said earlier. It's so true. Every risk you take, there's something on the other end of that. And there's 3 things you're usually going through in life. You're either getting ready to go in a storm, you're in the storm, or you just came out of one. Those are the 3 things that you're going through. And you just have to be able to weather that storm and what's on the other side, because I've heard this so many times and I can witness to it, that typically when you're about to give up is when there's something right on the other side that you just missed by a hair because you gave up.
The sun's trying to come behind those clouds. You just gotta wait for it. You gotta push through.
Exactly.
You know? What's the worst advice you've ever received?
Give up. It's not worth it. Give up. It's not worth it. Why are you sacrificing this? For me, and I can't even fathom why someone would say that to you, because I've just been taught my whole life to fight. I watched my parents persevere. I watched them fight. My husband did not have that same childhood. And so we've been told by several people, give up, it's not worth it. Like, why don't you just go get a regular 9 to 5? Give up your business, stay home, be a stay-at-home mom. Because I don't want that. I want more. And I'm making a short-term sacrifice for a long-time reward.
And that's what each person needs to decide what their ultimate life looks like. And that's where people really need to dig deep and go, what do I want? And what am I willing to sacrifice and to get to where I want to be? Do you have a favorite book that you've read? I know you said you didn't like reading. Do you have anything that you've ever read that you truly like?
I do. So I really like the book Art of Exceptional Living by Jim Rohn, and The Energy Bus.
Okay.
The Energy Bus, and I get my book recommendations from my mom. Like I said, she's a wonderful woman. She's a strong woman. We're pretty much the same person in a lot of ways. But The Energy Bus, I actually made my husband listen to. We had this 22-hour drive to Utah, and I was like, we're listening to this book. So we listened to the book, and it changed my perspective on a lot of things. The Energy Bus was huge because it's in your control. It's in your control whether you get mad that someone cut you off on the road. Mm-hmm. It's not.
It's all a choice.
Exactly, it's all a choice. And I tell my husband that all the time. It's in your control. Why would you get mad? The road's not going anywhere. It's staying right where it's at. It's okay. But the Energy Bus is really good, and I recommend that to everybody, whether you're starting your own business, whether you work for somebody, whether you're even a stay-at-home mom, whatever path or walk you are in life. I love the Energy Bus because it's just so good on the perspective of how you are in control of everything, and it walks you through those different things that you can do. And it's not a long book. That's why I like it too. No, I'm just kidding. It's not a long book, but it's a great one, and it's on Audible. You can listen to it. But The Art of Exceptional Living was huge too, by Jim Rohn. I love that book. I don't read very much, but those are the ones I like to read. I've gotten better. That's one of my challenges, that I've gotten a lot better at reading books because I gain so much knowledge from them.
Well, don't feel bad. I hated reading.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I was that kid that could not read in school when I was young. I just couldn't. It was embarrassing. I felt very insecure about reading. It wasn't great. But if you haven't read, it's The Courage to Be Disliked. I am in the middle of that book. I really like it. It's about the Adler theory of psychology, and I truly like it because it's everything that we're talking about. So you gotta decide and be able to stand on your own 2 feet and not worry about what other people think. Because at the end of the day, you gotta decide your life. And if you quit because what someone else says, you're quitting and you're giving up, and you're letting someone else dictate your life.
Exactly.
So, Ashlynne, if the viewers are watching, if you knew someone was going through a storm, what would you tell them to help them get to where they want to be?
Be strong. You got this. Just do it. That's like one of my favorite things is Adopt Nike. Just do it. Mm-hmm. Be strong. You've got so much to live for. There's a reason you're here, and there's a reason you're going through that storm. Now, whether or not you're gonna fight through it or you're gonna curl up in a ball and cry for your mommy, that's up to you. Not that the fight's not gonna be hard. It's going to be hard. All I can do is promise you it is going to be hard, but it will be worth it because it happens for a reason and you have no idea what's on the other side of that. My parents had no idea when their son passed away what was on the other side of that. And not to say they wouldn't have gotten where they are, but my brother passing away shot them into where they are today. They don't have to worry about whether the lights are going to be turned off. They don't have to worry about what they're going to eat for dinner. We don't have to go to the free little food things to get food from a sack and then one of us get out of the car and walk through because it was only one car that could go through to get the free food. They don't have to worry about that anymore. But at the hardest time of their life and of my life, we could have crumbled or we could have fought. And the fight was hard.
It always is.
It is always hard, but it is 100% worth it. And you got to give it all you got. And there's like, do yourself that justice. Do it for you. What do you have in you to fight? And just find that you just gotta rile up and just find it and fight with all you've got. Whatever storm it is, you've gotta fight through it. You've gotta make it through the storm. You gotta make it through the rain and the thunder. And then on the other side of that, there's there's sun, there's tropical weather, there's a beach, whatever it is, mentally visualize it. Like, think about where you are on the other side of that storm and you will get there.
The thing is, time is gonna pass. Meaning
Exactly.
That storm is gonna happen. And that time during that storm, however long it's gonna be, time is gonna pass. So you get to decide what you do with that time. Is that gonna be a learning period? Is it gonna be something that's gonna help you get stronger? Or like you said, are you gonna curl up in ball and sit in the bed and not learn from it? Because if we take our struggles and our fights and we really truly learn from them, the other side is so much more beautiful. Like you said, you're running a successful business. Your mom's running a successful business. Like you have so much success behind you. But I truly do believe the successful people come from a true hard fight, and the journey is not easy. But if you learn to ride that journey and really learn from that journey, unleashing your ultimate life is such a beautiful thing to do.
It really is. I don't know anybody who is successful that hasn't had a hard time, that hasn't had no idea how they're gonna pay their bills, that hasn't been going through something, that hasn't hit rock bottom. Mm-hmm. You gotta hit rock bottom to shoot up. You really do. I don't know anybody who's extremely successful that hasn't. Like you, for instance, you've gone through stuff and you're extremely successful.
Yeah, and that's why the podcast exists, because I do truly feel that people need to hear that it's not all rainbows. It's not all sunshine. You go through the fight to learn and grow. And when you learn and grow through that fight, then on the other side, you unleash your ultimate life. Ashlynne, I really appreciate you coming out today and explaining your journey, because I do think it will resonate with someone. As a 14-year-old, seeing what you went through and where you're going and the success you're having. Everybody needs to understand the journey, the story that you create is your life, and unleashing your ultimate life.
Thanks for tuning in today to The Road Less Traveled. If you're organizing an event, workshop, or simply planning something exciting and would like to have Tiffany Rosenbaum join you, or want to have her on your podcast, visit TiffanyMRosenbaum.com and click on Book Tiffany to get started.